Alright, so the next step, once you have cleaned your blade, what you want to do is you want to take a barrel. It doesn't have to be new, just make sure that it doesn't have any dents in it. And take a wire. What you're going to do is unravel that wire. One end of the wire will have a metal, a plastic cap on it with a piece of metal on the inside. That's the connector, and the other side will just be a piece of bare wire. What you want to do is pass the wire through your barrel such that once you've passed it all the way through, the plastic cup will be resting at the bottom of the barrel right here. Just going to pass it all the way through. And then what you can use is you can use a screwdriver or a more expensive tool, I think called a point setter. Hey, we got one. Hey. You can take this guy called a point setter, make sure it's pressed in all the way. We're going to use it before we actually glue it down. Now what you're going to see is there's going to be a groove on one side of your blade. That's the groove that we just cleaned the glue out of. Take the wire, make sure the wire is on the side of the groove, and then just loosely screw the barrel on, making sure the wire doesn't get crunched. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your adjustable wrench again and tighten it. I've more than a few times cracked the barrel while doing this. Basically I just do it with one finger until I can't anymore, and that seems to be a pretty decent rule of thumb, because if you do it too loose, then what's going to happen is your barrel is going to be loose constantly. If you do it too loose, your barrel is going to be loose constantly. You're going to have to screw it in. It's going to be a pain in the buns. If somebody has a great tip for how to do that, or just has any commentary, please. You know what, guys? All right. Once you have your barrel tightened and your wire in place, what you're going to want to do is run the wire down the length of the blade inside the groove. Make sure it's all lined up nicely. And then what you need to do, because if you just glue it like this, what's going to happen a lot is your wire is going to pop out, and that happens pretty frequently. So you want to make sure it's as tight as possible. So what people will do, and what you should do, is take the blade, bend it backwards so that the wire travels less distance, like such, and then wrap the wire around the tang of the blade to keep it in place. And then let the blade relax back into position. The next step, what you're going to do is you're going to glue the wire into place. Now you want to bend it in the way that you would bend the blade if you were making a touch, rather than the other way, because then it'll pop right out. Make sure it's in the groove. You can buy fancy chains with which to do this, and it's just got plastic caps on one end and a chain on the other. You can also use a table or a desk. And then you're going to take your super glue. This is a good brand of super glue. We have a piece
too good.
It's a little too good. We have a piece of wood from our workbench trustily stuck to the side of the cap. And it is not coming off.
No.
You can order this glue on Amazon. If not, you can just use crazy glue at the store. What's important is you get glue that says super thin or is runny in another way, because you want to basically just put a dot onto the top and have it run all the way down the blade. What I often like to do is start from the top, have it run down to about halfway, and then flip it over and do it from the bottom, because what you don't want is glue around the barrel, because then you won't be able to take the barrel off later if it's glued on. And you definitely don't want to end up gluing this bundle of wire to your tang, because then you'll have to start all over. So what we're going to do, start right at the top here, and we're just going to put a little drop on, and it's going to run down the blade. You can see the wire changing color, probably not in the video, but you can watch it as it goes. It's about here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah. Definitely can't see that in the video, but
It also definitely helps These have pretty narrow pointed tips, and what ends up happening is it glues over, and then you just have to keep cutting it off. So this is about the base of the tip, so we're not working with the most...
last time we had to dip it in acetone because we couldn't
Did you really?
Yeah.
So we're not working with the most precision instruments here. I've also glued my fingers together. On this occasion and many others. Definitely make sure.
On this occasion?
Alright. So now the glue is right around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the blade.
And it dries that quickly?
It'll dry in a second or two. It won't set for, I don't even know how long.
A good like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. If you're worried about the timing, maybe leave it for a minute before you flip it. So we didn't do a very good job. I didn't do a very good job of cleaning this out, so this wire is popping out a little bit. You really want this to be flush so that you can't feel the wire at all on top of it. Actually, that's okay. You can just see it. So then what we're going to do is just put a dot of glue on this side, let that run down in the other direction.
Now you should be able to see it changing color. Oh boy.
That's fine. And that's all. And then you want to leave this for however long the internet says super glue takes to set. If you do it for 20 minutes, you're probably good. Maybe leave it for an hour. Overnight or over a weekend if you want to be super safe about it.
Good advertisement for the dust level back there as well.